It was a hiccup. All right, just bear with me for a second. It was a hiccup. All right. Hi, y'all. It's been a couple weeks. Probably don't really need to explain myself at this point. It's pretty hot here in my office. I've got the overhead fan is on, but and the window's kind of open. It's a little more open now, but it's fucking hot. So we're gonna try to do a normal hangout. Until either I get too hot or I just have a fucking breakdown on air. Whichever one comes first. Both are just as likely at this point, so we'll see. Sorry, I don't mean to start the show on a bummer. It sucks. If this is your first time watching this show, this is not normal. It's usually a little more positive, energetic. But if you watch the old streams chronologically, you'll be able to see this slowly building over a matter of months. So that's cool. That's like a neat sort of social archaeology you can check out. I hope your week has been well. I hope that your lives have been well. I know that if you're on the East Coast, there was the smoke days. That was interesting. They hit my area pretty bad that first day, and the levels were apparently essentially toxic. Although the public didn't really know about it. Our city officials were not super clear on what to do. The obvious answer is put your masks back on. I know you have them still, but you wake up in the morning, you see shit like that. It just looks like fog, and so I think that people weren't quite ready. I remember thinking to myself, it smells like somebody's burning plastic. Nope, we're just burning Canada. Thankfully, the smoke aspect's done. However, I did recently see, I've almost finished another chapstick, so that's something I can be happy about. I did see that, besides the fact that wildfires are still going, and that they happen all over the globe, I saw that Canada this year has burned 15 million hectares of land, which is more than like the previous 7 years combined or something. I don't know. That's not a fact. Don't take that as a fact. I also I do want to just note, last stream 2 weeks ago, the comments, I was not seeing the chat at all for whatever reason. So if you're in the chat and I'm not responding to you, because I usually do try to respond, I apologize. I don't know what happened last week, but when I went to watch the playback, um, tons of chat, and I just thought I was hanging out by myself. So I don't know. Anyways, I won't bore you with my fucking morose attitude tonight. Again, if you're just joining us, this is not how it normally is, but we got to pass the time somehow, right? But I do hope you're doing well. I hope you get through whatever you're going through. All right, let's do the grow down. Oh shit! First we have to do the pose, which I'm not really. There we go. Fucking good enough. Is this funny, sad that this stream is, or is this just like fucking? I don't fucking know. Anyway, we're on Reddit. Hands down my worst stream. Let's check what these notifications are. Are they anything? Are they people being weird? No, they're just recommendations. Sometimes you'll check those notifications, and I'll have an inbox with some fucking bonkers person in there screeching about just the most insane shit. I was going through my message requests on Twitter, and there was a person who just gave me just a no line break, like screen filling paragraph of something that was not totally connected in any way. It was in defense to like I don't know. I think the original topic had something to do with like UAP disclosure or something, but this person just went, I worry about y'all, is what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's find some weird shit to talk about so I can distract myself for a fucking hour. Now that David Grush has revealed the Vatican does indeed know non-human intelligence exists, these paintings become very relevant to the discussion. I had the same thought. I think that we all sort of knew that they were well aware of these things. Then you look at classical art like this. These are just, you see these fucking paintings as the example everywhere. I'm sure there's tons more, though. But yeah, I guess I just kind of always assumed that like the Vatican was well aware and did know, and probably somewhere in their secret archive, they probably have fuckloads of great information. I would, that's a place that like in the apocalypse, people are like, what would you do? Would you scrounge something? Yeah, I'd fucking do my best to cross the Atlantic and go root around in the Vatican archives. I think that would be so fun. After I went through my neighborhood, I'm sorry, neighborhood. I'm gonna root around in your shit. The botanical tree of cryptid plants. Are there cryptid plants? I guess I never even fucking thought about it. We are definitely digging into some of this here. What is this? Man-eating tree of Madagascar. There is a rock, supposedly, in Glastonbury, Vermont. I stayed in this. I slept in this forest for like 5 days once. There was some oddities there. We'll get into it some other time. But the reason I went there is because there was a bunch of legends of like they call it the Bennington Triangle or the Glastonbury Triangle or something like that. I kind of forget. It's that forest is actually the reason. It was like the first missing 411 case, and it predates missing 411 by like decades. But like that's the first one that like really fits the standard, and it's the reason that the Vermont State Police were formed, was that case, and it happened in this triangle. Anyway, there's like a lot of UAP sightings there. There's a lot of Sasquatch sightings there. Nearby, in the Catskills, you also have like gnomes, is like a thing. But in this Bennington Triangle, there is a legend of a rock that eats men. And I guess like if it was a local folklore, rock could just be a way to describe something that you don't have another word for. Like a UAP. It might look like a rock that eats men. That I don't know, fucking fire in the sky tractor beam sort of shit, maybe. But I love the idea that it's literally a big ass rock in the middle of the Bennington Triangle somewhere that I don't know, maybe it swallows you whole, maybe it's sentient, or like it's a fairy door, you know, where people like lean against it and all of a sudden whoop, they're gone. So yeah, Glastonbury, Vermont. I believe it's called the Bennington Triangle. Glastonbury Forest is the name of the forest. If you're in the area, go check it out. It is there. There were some bizarre things that happened to me there. Not like crazy bizarre. There was a lot of knocking. There was a lot of quartz in the ground. I think it was quartz. And sound acted very weird. My partner at the time and I were, when we were camping there were often like we would talk to each other, or, you know, like fire would crack behind us, or like just sounds, you know, like sounds when you're out and about, like you're clinking something, but like the sound wouldn't be where it was supposed to be. It would be wrong. It would be in other, like it would sound like it was in front of you if it was behind you. It would sound like to your side if it was like, it was so strange, and it happened multiple times that both of us were like, what the fuck is going on? We found what's it called? Star jelly? I think it's called star jelly. I didn't know what it was until we found it, and I wanted to look it up. I'm using a VPN, so Chrome gives me shit all the time. Yeah, star jelly. So we found this. The one we found was a little yellower, I suppose. But yeah, we were wandering in the woods, and we came across this. There wasn't any ponds or anything nearby. I know some people have said that it's tadpole stuff, but like this is not tadpole stuff. There's nothing in there at all. And the stuff we found was even clearer than this. It was very gelatinous. It wasn't like animal fat. It definitely wasn't tadpole shit. Like, it was very bizarre. I have it on video. I filmed a documentary of that trip, and I do have that clip on video. Which, if anyone's interested, I can show it to you, but I'm definitely not going to put it up here. So yeah, we found star jelly, and I didn't know what it was until I was like trying to figure out what this goop was that we found, and that's what it was. So fucking Glastonbury, Vermont, the Bennington Triangle. I highly recommend checking it out. It's definitely worth your time. The vegetable lamb of Tartary. All right, well, Tartary is already kind of a fucking subject that I would love to get into. I would love a complete academic collection of Tartary material. Not like John Levi videos on YouTube. They're entertaining. I love them. But a complete collection of like mentions of the civilization of Tartary. There are some, and I've seen some, but like usually it's just like people not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. The man-eating tree of Nubia. Man, we got Madagascar and Nubia both have man-eating trees. The moss man. Oh, fuck. New favorite cryptid just dropped. Vampire vines, barnacle tree. Umdalebi, vegetable man. These guys. Vegetable man, moss man. Silphium. Bohan Upus, monkey trap tree, arbor diaboli. I love that. Diabolical tree. Fucking A. The devil tree. Death flower of El Benur. Rock softening plants. Oh, what is that? Does that tie into some of those theories about the ancient superculture and softening rocks to build shit? Jumpin' Yucky. That was my nickname in high school. Giant plants of Sakhaline, El Joy, electric Alacia, snake tree of Mexico, killer grass, fountain tree of the Canary Islands, magnetic, giant New Jersey pitcher plant. All of these are so intriguing. On the pitcher plant. Oh, there's a video on the pitcher plant. Do we want to see the video of the pitcher plant? Why not, right?
So I remember that your profile
Get the
was
fuck
just really
out of
fun.
here.
I remember a photo
I swear
of
to God.
you dancing in a cowboy hat.
Carnivorous plants are relatively rare, and the ones that do exist are usually pretty small, only able to feed on smaller animals. But years ago, a viewer shared a story about a strange carnivorous plant that is far bigger
How long is this
and
video?
far deadlier
We're
than
not gonna watch
anything
the
we
whole thing.
currently know of. In 2017, I made a video on cryptobotany, which if you don't know is basically the study of plants not recognized by science, basically cryptozoology for plants. While the video itself covered somewhat well-known cryptid plants, I received a very interesting comment from a user named Kai Russell. Okay, so I live in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, USA, and when I was about 12, me and my older cousin walked 5+ miles into the wilderness. He was hunting, I was just along for the adventure. And midway through the day, we come across a 4 or 5 high, weird type of pitcher plant. My cousin, who was around 26 or 27 at the time, knew it wasn't the normal type of pitcher plant we see in the area. It was oozing a purplish white thick sap that looked like purplish marshmallow fluff, and it smelled like a rotting corpse. Long story short, we got home and did research. The plant doesn't exist, or should I say, isn't recognized by science. The pitcher part of the plant was 80% of the plant, while the known pitcher plants have these little tiny pitchers. The plant looked like it was from the rainforest, or as CGI from the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth. We didn't touch a thing, but I wish we would have opened the pitcher. It could have been a deer in it rotting away.
Fucking
It was
no.
big and wide, skinnier at the top and bottom. I went to the spot 8 years later, and couldn't find the plant. I've been there 5+ times since I'm now 26,
Maybe
and
it
haven't
moves.
seen it since
Maybe it's got
12.
legs.
And my memory of the directions of getting to the general area of the plant are slipping each time. Someone tell me they've seen an unidentified plant, because I've never heard of anyone else having seen one.
I feel like every plant I've ever seen I
replied to
haven't
his
been able to
comment,
identify.
and he
I'm
shared
dumb as
more
shit with that
information
stuff.
about the plant. That is actually the first time either of us have said anything outside the family. The area where we encountered this is probably 15 to 20 miles from the Pygmy Forest in New Jersey. It's an area of pine trees that grow only 4 feet tall for some reason. I don't think science knows. But the Pine Barrens have a decent amount of organisms that are only found here.
Is that
Those
true?
dwarf pine trees are one of them. You can get an idea of the area if you search Dwarf Pine Forest, New Jersey, or Pygmy Forest, New Jersey. Ironically, I've witnessed triangle-shaped UFOs in the area as well.
That's not
And
ironic.
if you look it up,
That's
you can find the news story because a lot of others witnessed these too. Not saying they're connected, it's a weird area for sure.
ironies when
I
you
first saw this comment,
when something
I
happens you
did
don't
a few
expect to
Google
happen
searches for the
in
plant and the
concurrence with the
forest
situation.
itself, but like Kai said, there's
like
no
it's a
information
weird forest.
on it.
You expect weird things, right?
So I put it in the back of my mind and hoped that eventually someone who knew more about the plant might find the comment one day. After coming back from a break from YouTube, I saw a comment from Dr. Odd, who shared with me that Dr. Carl Schuker, a famous cryptozoologist with a degree in zoology, covered the comment in an article he wrote for his blog. In the article, which I'll link below, he pointed out a number of interesting details. Pitcher plants work by using a nectar to attract prey.
That
Once
purple
the prey
foam.
enters the
Is that what
plant,
that was?
it falls down the slippery sides of the plant into the
That
center,
fucking
where the plant dissolves the prey
smelled
for
those
food.
kids coming.
The size of the
sprayed
pitcher
out their
plant
foam,
Kai spotted would
and was
not
like,
only
"Come
make it
look
the
in my
largest
pitcher,"
pitcher
and it
plant in
almost
North
worked.
America, but over twice as large as the largest currently known pitcher plant in the world. Whatever was rotting away in the pitcher plant probably wasn't a deer, though it could have been another animal.
Fucking
A deer most likely wouldn't
kindergartner.
have jumped into the pitcher plant, and even if one did, the deer's hooves likely would have been able to cut through the sides of the plant. Schuker also noted that most pitcher plants actually have multiple pitchers, while Kai's pitcher only had one large pitcher. It's also strange that only
I wish
one
he drew a
plant was
picture of the
found.
pitcher,
Typically, even if Kai was unable to find the original
just so I
plant,
could say that sentence
there
a
would
few
have been
times.
other plants in the area, since that's how plants spread. Finally, while the plant Kai described doesn't resemble other known pitchers, there is a species that looks similar to pitcher plants, known as the Titan arum, or corpse plant. The name corpse plant comes from the smell the plant makes,
There you go.
which is similar to what Kai describes, as usually pitcher plants don't have a sap that smells like a rotting corpse. So was this just a misidentification of a corpse plant?
Seems like it.
Probably not, since the
No?
corpse plant is native to the series.
Okay.
My first theory is that the plant is a new, very rare species of pitcher plant that remains unidentified to this day, possibly extinct since Kai couldn't find it on return trips. My second theory is that it's an out-of-place corpse plant. Perhaps someone brought over a specimen to the United States, or it eventually wound up in the pygmy forest. This would explain why only one was found, and if the plant died in the much colder New Jersey climate, it would also explain why Kai couldn't find it on return
That makes
trips.
sense to me.
However,
However, nothing. Let's keep moving. I love this idea of cryptobotany. I guess it's just never even fucking crossed my mind. Yeah, any suggestions for reliable books on cryptobotany? I would also love that. If you are watching this and you have any suggestions for good cryptobotany books, send them my way. It's probably going to be my next rabbit hole that I fall down. Wow, that's so cool. What a good find. I'm glad that, well, for this alone, I'm glad that I streamed tonight. Invisible forest creatures? Oh, man, I love those. I went through a whole phase of looking into that stuff a couple years ago. Not this type of shit. Line breaks? Come on. Paragraphs, people. I'm not reading it now. I'm going to assume you saw an invisible forest creature and it scared you. Got it. Does the U.S. have a secret UFO retrieval program? Okay, so this came out just recently, right? I think I remember hearing about this where there was a whistleblower that was like, yeah, we got a whole fucking team that goes out and gets shit.
To classify.
Oh, that's annoying. 40 minutes? What is this intro? Is it 38 minutes of that?
Welcome, everybody. I am your man in black. Welcome to Classified Black. We're going to get into it because we have some exciting news. There's a lot going on out there as it relates to unidentified flying objects or aerial phenomena, whatever the federal government is trying to call it now. And this one is a breaking news story. It's hit the wire just this week. And as your man in black, we got to tell you the truth and keep it 100% real with you, because this report, I think, is stunning. And for all of you out there who believe that unidentified UFOs or phenomena do exist, this sort of validates your belief system that there's something out there, that we're not alone in the phenomena of the universe. And let me say this before, I said this in other videos, that humans on this planet and all the other living things on this planet are not the only living beings or entities, biological entities in the universe. How can we be if there's thousands of stars
Get to the fucking thing.
and solar systems out there that we haven't even gotten to? We have no comprehension of this reality. Question, where did life first start in the first place? Now, there is a military man by the name of David Charles Goresh. I want to say his full name. He is a whistleblower and has revealed some startling information that would make a lot of us say, wait a minute, is he just as some people would say, the critics out there would say, oh, he's off his rocker, he's off his nuts. No. Reason why this information has more validity to it, because this man has a lot of legitimacy based on his military background.
We've had so many military whistleblowers though. People don't give a shit.
Breakdown of David Charles Goresh. He was born in 1987. He is an American Air Force officer.
Like the fucking
intelligence
pilots in the
officer,
Nimitz encounter,
according
people
to the
still
New
give
York
shit.
Times, Telegraph, and
they're
other
like
news outlets
endorsed.
citing a report in the debrief. That's a very good website. Check that out. The United States government.
I'm not doubting him.
whistleblower
I'm just saying that like
in
that's because he's
June
military
5th,
doesn't mean shit
2023
anymore.
Interview conducted by Ross for News Nation. The rest said that he was convinced that based on
And honestly, actually, let me pause this. Honestly, like the fact that he's military, I feel like at this point, with this whole narrative control issue that we're dealing with, I feel like at this point being military gives you less credibility than a fucking nobody, you know? Like, obviously, you're not going to be some fucking farmer from Oklahoma and be like, yeah, I know that there's a crash retrieval team. I know that, but I'm going to take like your sighting stories, your abduction stories, that sort of thing. I'm going to take those more seriously than a fucking military guy, a respected military guy blowing the whistle. Because come on, bro, who are your bosses, right? Like we have this whole issue with like the narrative being controlled by the US government. And it's been an issue for a long time, but even now we're seeing that like their numbers don't quite add up with their reports and what is garbage and what is an actual unidentified thing. We're seeing that their story is not matching up with like Italy or Mexico. So there is definitely like this narrative that they are trying to hold on to. And that's not me being a conspiracy theorist. Like, it's just, like it's been the New York Times, one number, and then, 6 months later, it's a different number, or it's a different point of view where they negate the first one, or any number of these things where they try to control the story. So like a military dude, I'm sorry, look at your smug face. Look at your smug face. If you're genuinely being good, dude, and this is like a genuine thing, cool, thank you, I appreciate it. I think we all kind of assumed what you're saying anyway, but I appreciate it. But man, the person that signs your paycheck is not trustworthy, and so by default, you're not trustworthy. That's my little rant.
Reports from others that the United States government had recovered both non-human spacecraft and the bodies of pilots. Let me just say this to you real quick.
We've had whistleblowers for 40 years saying
David Koresh
this.
is not saying that he actually witnessed these things, eyewitness account with his own eyes, whether it be spacecrafts or biological entities from another world. He simply said that with his military background in intelligence, he has talked to other military personnel who have said to him, like Air Force pilots, that they have seen some really strange things in the airspace, things that they can't explain, and that they have recovered ships, wreckage, and also bodies of biological entities. And once again, before you say this man is off his rocker, you need to understand what his credentials are. Now, David Koresh was a
I don't care. And the fact that his name is so close to David Koresh is like freaking me out a little.
With the United States Air Force during war, the war in Afghanistan.
I think this is what
and
we're
he
looking
is
for
a
right
veteran
here.
of the national with humans. Let's keep it real. The whistleblower. Now, David.
I was hoping that was like a clip of him talking or something. Oh, here we go. Here's a clip.
Call it space. Award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthard,
There we go.
who's
This is what I
reporting
was
for
looking
News
for.
Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
Did you hear what he said? That the United States government has actually retrieved.
This is actually in the original New York Times story. It's just like there's like 2 lines in it where they talk about off-world vehicles not made on Earth that they found. It's interesting, but it got kind of blown right by with all the other news. Okay, I don't want to listen to this guy's whole fucking podcast here. If I find a link to the entire thing where the guy's talking, cool. We'll watch that. But Morpheus, you're doing great though, buddy. Who's watching Stephen Greer's current live press events? Hopefully no one. Don't give Stephen Greer any attention. It doesn't matter if he's telling the truth. The dude is out for money. His CE5 shit is so fucking expensive, and if it was so important to humanity, he wouldn't be charging so much fucking money for it. He's a grifter. Let's see. People have been killed. Yeah, okay. I'm with you. All right, so this is the same guy. Sure. No, block. Get the fuck out of here. Is there video? Yes, there we go.
If you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely
Says the military
unethical and
guy.
immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
I don't buy his fucking body language at all.
Also, you'll see when you read the letter. The governor
fuck is
also
this?
asked for 40,000.
Yeah, I don't buy his body language at all. It is... I don't know. I don't doubt that there is such a program. But I do doubt this fella's intentions. Here's the full interview. How long is this fucking thing?
For the first time,
41
we
minutes.
are not alone.
We're definitely not alone.
Claims that our government has proof of alien life.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number. Some are landed, some are crashed.
Allegations of a secret government program that has hidden the truth, the technology, from the world.
There's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral, and it's totally frightening.
From Roswell to the present day.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
There are non-prosaic cases, 100% unexplainable. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft they're seeing.
Is this decorated officer a liar?
Why should we believe you?
A fool?
Is it possible that you're deluding yourself?
Or a hero?
I'm a patriot, and I believe in truth to power in this.
We're talking about the biggest secret in human history.
We are not alone. The UFO whistleblower.
I just want to see the interview.
Good evening.
Top of the screen, there it goes.
Prompted in part by the release of these videos, purporting to show encounters between American naval continues to state we are indeed alone. But now, for the first time, a former member of that official investigative team is speaking out, telling a stunning story that impacts every person on this planet.
And now you're about to meet that man for the very first time in this exclusive television interview. Welcome. Have a seat. Maybe start off telling me your name and who you are.
My name is David Grush. You know, I came from a blue-collar family in Pittsburgh.
Not
Didn't have the money
Rush,
for
like Morpheus
college.
is saying.
Always admired people in uniform, and I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. You know, 18 years ago, I got an Air Force scholarship for physics. I originally commissioned on active duty in the Air Force, served 14 years in the Air Force.
I look at this photograph, Dave, and I see a very proud officer.
I was getting promoted to captain when I was deployed.
And you still love your country, don't you?
Absolutely.
A career intelligence officer, Grush spent time on the ground in Afghanistan and other places he can't mention before rotating back to Washington.
I was an intel officer for the U.S. for 14 years. My last position, which I left in April of 2023, I co-led the UAP portfolio for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and some of the highest officials within the Department of Defense and Intelligence community used to call on me to advise them on some of the hardest target sets that the country had.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the US defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
And he says the most earth-shattering of those
Okay.
secrets were revealed after 2019.
Come on.
When he was
landed or crashed. But origin, I don't think we have all the data testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
You are alleging.
Why is his
that
body
the
language
US
so
government
fucking weird?
has been
I'm not an expert or
concealing
anything, but
the existence on this planet of alien life.
also I do think it's funny that he reminds me so
would
much
couch it as
of
non-human intelligence,
Crichton from
NHI,
Farscape.
like we like to say in our language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location, and I couch it as somebody who studied physics, where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah.
Just let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet.
Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah.
I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock.
It was to me, and I had a lot of sleepless nights.
Grush said,
I'm gonna repeat what I was saying earlier. Hi, if you're just joining us. Hi. I don't know. Say hi in the chat. Anyway, so his whistleblowing is that we have a crash retrieval team. That's the fact of what he's saying, because nothing else that he's saying is new. Like Elizondo was talking about interdimensional a couple of years ago, but like fucking everybody's talked about interdimensional for decades and decades. Keel and Valet and all those dudes were talking about interdimensional. His body language is so fucking off to me. I don't know why. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe, not everybody does well on camera. And it may be because I just don't trust a military dude who is involved in this scene, who has their paycheck signed by, the Department of Defense, to be just forthcoming with information. It's not the first military whistleblower we've had. We've had some that have said far wilder things. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this guy. He's not saying anything groundbreaking. If we have crashes, of course we have crash retrieval teams. For fuck's sake, the whole half of the Roswell story is about the crash retrieval. So yeah, of course we would have retrieval teams. So what is the point of this? Is this narrative control? Is that what this is? Probably.
He's never personally seen non-human intelligence.
If you disagree, argue with
But
me in the
he's
chat.
spoken to enough people directly involved in what he calls the program that he's convinced it's real.
I started out as a non-believer. I came to the problem as a hardcore physics guy, intel officer, so I have a, excuse my language, high factor. I was very methodical.
High fuck factor?
Interviewing people who didn't know
What
each
does that
other,
mean?
making sure this wasn't some kind of cover-up of some other program.
He
That's
says
the first
he
time I've laughed in
pressed
quite a
to
while.
gain direct access to this program, and that's when his trouble started. Grush claims his investigation was stymied, his requests for access rebuffed.
They shut the door in my face. They denied me access to these programs.
Soon after, he says, he endured reprisals and retaliation
Yeah,
from
I mean,
above.
that's true,
He
but there's
then
something about the way
reported
he's
that
moving his
information
head,
to
and
the
his
intelligence
shoulders a little
community
bit.
inspector
There's
general.
something very,
That's why he's filed this whistleblower complaint.
I don't know.
He says that
It reminds me of
experience is
watching,
why he decided to go public here.
a
and
newish
in a
actor,
recent
an
article written by
unskilled
Leslie
actor.
Kane in the debrief.
But again,
You're not being paid for this interview?
No, I'm not.
DOD signs his paychecks.
It's a sense of service.
It's a level of
Call
suspicion
me
that
a
we
Boy
should hold on
Scout
to.
or whatever. It just when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I do not want to live a life of regret.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone.
Again,
Absolutely,
though,
the
fucking
data
military
points
dudes have been
empirically
saying this
that we're
for
not alone, yeah.
at least 4 years.
That we have, the United States has
7 years? 6 years? When was the New York Times article?
intact craft.
2017?
We do.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that
Right there.
sounds,
You see how he's closing his eyes like that?
it's true.
Have you seen
I knew a kid once
spacecraft?
who would always close his eyes when he lies. So maybe that's just triggering that memory in me.
But he says the specific documents and photos that would prove his claims are still classified, and he cannot disclose them here.
Let's deal with
Not
the
much of a
issue
fucking
pure
whistleblower if you're not going to tell us
credibility.
the secrets, my man. You're just telling us shit we already heard.
You're
I know
just
I'm ragging
somebody
on this guy
coming
a lot,
out
but
of nowhere, making
I've got
claims
some
that
shit to vent
we
on, so
really
I'm going to.
ultimately
Sorry.
can't prove.
Yeah. Well, we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the Hill staff, and we went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider.
You mean
Even if
especially
call
coming from a
them
respected
NHI
insider.
and
Okay. Didn't really tell us anything we haven't heard from 15 other sources. I mean, maybe he's well trained in body language, but he's sure making me not trust him. That's possible, I guess. Yeah. I mean, if he's in the military, yeah, he's probably he's trained to be stoic, sure. But I get a real disingenuity. Yeah, you know what I mean. Off of him. But again, I could just be suspicious because he works for the DoD. So, who knows? What else we got? Let's take a look if it's bullshit.
Some even propose that the moon could be a colossal
Oh,
artificial
it's bullshit.
structure.
There was that thing from Vegas, the alien crash, and they saw 8 to 10 foot beings, right? If we find something of that, we'll talk about that. As far as I know, there was no video of the craft or the beings. As far as I know, just the videos of people reacting. So who knows? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that he works for the DoD, and the United States in general over the last 6 years since the New York Times article has been attempting to control the narrative of what's being said through press and whistleblowers and all that. But the DoD's story keeps changing in these little ways. So yeah, anybody that works for the DoD, whether or not they're telling the truth, I'm going to be suspicious of them because they're being paid by the same people that are making the water so muddy. Yeah, I mean, he could be. Let's see what else we got. Haunted 1800s mirror. I don't know what that means. Paranormal Highway investigates Bigfoot sightings in upstate New York. Let's see. Is this Whitehall? This is my area, the wood, my neck of the woods, my area of the forest. Let's just take a look. 21 minutes. Guys, make 6-minute videos. That's all I want. Tell me where in upstate.
Hi everybody. I'm about to go into these woods here where Bigfoot sighting is supposed to be at. So we're going to go into these woods. Yeah, you can see that it's you know, they say Bigfoot's out here. You know,
dude, you gotta do some cardio. You're just walking in the woods. You're out of breath. You gotta do some cardio.
I've never had a Bigfoot experience out here. I've been out here before in these woods. You know, but they're there. They're there. You just gotta like open your ears. You gotta listen.
You got something for me, my dude, or what?
The reason she hates it is she knows that if I see something and I think it might be something. I'm going towards it. She hates that because what if it's a regular animal or something, you know? It's such a... Yeah, it's just so beautiful out here.
Like, bears exist. So, you know, maybe that should not be your first fucking instinct, is to run towards things in the forest.
It's like, because I really want to know, because together with all...
Do you have anything, or are you just walking around the woods?
I feel like there's something behind the bushes. I'm going to take that chance. A lot more footage. I'm going on a paranormal hunt. Actually, at a graveyard.
No. Okay, so nothing. I do want to see if they say where this is. Because Whitehall, New York has a number. Hey, stop. Whitehall, New York. What did I just tell you? Whitehall, New York has a lot of Sasquatch sightings, and that whole area in Washington County where Whitehall is, I think, has just tons of them. And that's also right next to the Bennington Triangle that I was talking about earlier, and it's a little further north than the Catskills with the rest of that shit. The whole fucking area. Let's see. All they say is upstate New York. Let's see if anybody asks. No. All right, cool. Well, I mean, like, we got people around here that are putting the work in, getting in the ground. Sure, do it. I support that. Absolutely. Let's see. What else we got tonight? Can I turn a real Ouija board into a rolling tray with resin? Jesus, I can't stand people. All right. Obama seems to be superficially, facetiously joking, yet there is an undeniable undertone to his remarks that seem to indicate he's actually telling the truth. This immediately sounds like somebody reading into a joke too far, but let's take a look.
So this is something I feel like, if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen.
You never know.
If I was the president...
It was unlikely that I was going to be president.
The moment I was inaugurated, my hand would just, it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and the UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. Because that's the first thing that you would do.
The
aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, you know, there are a lot of people that are...
I do see what that guy was saying, though.
Here,
I do see that.
Every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, you know, that's what we're instructed to say.
All right.
I do see what that guy was saying in this section here.
That's why you will not be president.
Hold on, where is it?
That's the first thing that you would do. The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets.
See? I don't know. I'm not saying that is what's happening, but I am saying that I completely understand where this title comes from. That's a good clip, though. Let's see. Disclosure press event, list of major claims. I am not going to get into Stephen Greer again. But it's probably worth you, if you're interested in it at all, to check out Stephen Greer, his history, which has high points. I'll give him that. It does have high points. There are things he said that have come to fruition. But there's a lot of shady, weird shit in there, and a lot of it has to do with money. All it says is fundamentally correct. Let's see.
But not all of those who vouch for Grush are keeping their identities hidden. Some, like recently retired Army Colonel Carl Nell, have gone on record about the whistleblower's credibility. Now, Nell has a decade-spanning career in military intelligence that you can confirm in any number of ways, and he went on record to say not only did he work with Grush in an intelligence capacity, but that his character is, quote, beyond reproach. I'll quote Colonel Nell here. His assertion concerning the existence of a terrestrial arms race occurring sub rosa over the past 80 years, focused on reverse engineering technologies of unknown origin, is fundamentally correct, as is the indisputable realization that at least some of these technologies of unknown origin derive from non-human intelligence. Now, I'm going to level with you guys. That's a barn burner of a quote, but it's still just that. A quote. It isn't evidence. And with that in mind, let's delve into some of the criticisms of Grush's story that have surfaced over the past week.
Yes,
because
that is
this
what I
story
want.
has been met with a great deal of skepticism that is, in my opinion, completely warranted.
Yes.
After all, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and these claims are certainly extraordinary, but when it comes to evidence, so far we haven't seen any at all. Now, in fairness to Grush, he
Did you ever hear a person's voice and you can guess what they look like?
claims that he can't reveal any evidence that he may have in his possession because it's still currently protected by a high level of classification. And you might say that worrying about adhering to that classification while simultaneously leaking this story to the public is sort of a contradiction. But a devil's advocate might contend that that decision could be what differentiates Grush, who's still in the US and is clearly acting under guidance from expert legal counsel, from past whistleblowers like Edward Snowden, who revealed secrets under the guidance of journalists from the Washington Post and the Guardian, or Chelsea Manning, who did the same but under the guidance of controversial publisher and activist Julian Assange. In other words, by taking his concerns to an attorney with intricate knowledge of the intelligence apparatus, one could argue that Grush is taking the most responsible approach to disclosing this fantastic tale that he possibly could. Of course, that's assuming any of it is true. And to be fair to Grush, some of the elements of his story that have been called into question are really born more out of confusion about journalistic practices or government bureaucracy, and we can address a few of those right now. Like the idea that Grush's story was passed over by more reputable news outlets like the Washington Post
I didn't know
because
any
it
of this.
lacked merit. Now, Grush's story was reportedly taken to the Washington Post, but one of the story's authors, Ralph Blumenthal, took to Twitter on June 5th to address this narrative. He said, and I quote, "To be clear, the Washington Post did not pass on our UAP story. Leslie and I took it to the debrief because we were under growing pressure to publish it very quickly. The Post needed more time, and we couldn't wait." Now, why couldn't they wait has been subject to some debate, but it likely has something to do with Grush's legal proceedings. Another criticism that we can more or less dismiss is the idea that Grush's story must not have anything classified in it, otherwise it wouldn't have been approved by the Defense Department's Office of Pre-Publication Security Review. After all, it's their job to keep secrets from making it to the press, and Grush presented both the debrief and News Nation with documents showing that both his answers and their questions had been cleared by the Office of Pre-Publication Security. Of course, like so much about this story, this point of contention all comes down to the confusing bureaucracy that makes up the Defense Department. The truth of the matter is, a program as secret as Grush claims this UAP recovery effort is, wouldn't raise many flags within such a review. After all, they would have to know about it in order to be concerned about it. But further than that, if the DoD were to step in and say, no, you can't provide that answer, or no, you can't ask that question because it could compromise national security, well, that would amount to a de facto acknowledgement that what he was saying is true. And even if you want to attribute the most malicious secret government cabal to this story, the fact that there's an ongoing Inspector General investigation tied to this individual and these claims means you can't just make this story or this person disappear without drawing a great deal of attention.
I mean, yeah, all those are good points. I don't disagree with any of that. Boy, it's just Grush stuff. When did this happen? Did this happen today or yesterday? This is what I get for, you know, being me, I guess. Vatican Church studying UAPs for millennia. Ross Coulthard. My good friend D.W. Pasulka has apparently gone to the Vatican Library in the past. See, this is what I want to do. She's told me that there are enormous archives in the Vatican still to be released where they've been studying the phenomena through millennia. I believe it. I have no reason to question that. I'm not clicking on any Liberation Times. Ah, right, I will. I just want to see if they're talking about the same thing as far as the Vatican. They're not. Despite apparent connections with Italy's government and military, the CUN has previously had little luck in successfully lobbying the Italian parliament to open an official public investigation into UAP, although a more recent request has been lodged. Nevertheless, individuals within the Italian government and military in particular seem to possess in-depth knowledge about the phenomenon, which has been duly noted by none other than Lou Elizondo. When filming the History Channel's Unidentified, Elizondo met with Italian officials and CUN members in Rome. At this meeting, the Italians suggested they had found a way to communicate with UAP by using a radio beacon with a particular frequency. Upon hearing this, Elizondo remarked, "This is next level. One of our international friends may have figured out a way to communicate. We didn't get that far at ATIP, that's for sure." In that particular meeting, which you can watch here, was not staged as some have speculated, something confirmed to Liberation Times. Video unavailable. Fuck. If anyone has this, send it my way. I want to see it. Lou Elizondo stated, "I think we'll see a lot more participation by the international community and a lot more transparency. We're going to begin sharing information a lot more, and I think people may be surprised just how much information is possessed on this topic by other countries." If you've been paying attention to this at all, like, it's not a surprise. France, Italy, Mexico, a number of governments have come out earlier than America and been saying this stuff. Well, the first French report was like 2012, 2013, something like that. So a good 4 years before the New York Times article, and a good fucking 9 years before the American report. If you want like the good shit, look at other countries. They're saying the same things. Oh yeah, well yes, we talked about that at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you saw that, but yes. How far down am I? I'm quite a ways. But yes, the Vatican has acknowledged, I believe was what I saw. Yes. The same guy. David Grush has revealed that the Vatican does indeed know non-human intelligence exists. These paintings become very relevant, and here are a few of them. But yes, we were talking about that at the beginning of the show, that in the event of like an apocalypse, that the one place I'd really want to go to is the Vatican archives. Scientist Jacques Vallée suggests why advanced UFOs can crash to Earth. UFO crashes are not accidental events, but rather intentional occurrences that serve a specific purpose for the mysterious visitors. I don't know. Maybe that seems like conjecture. Jacques Vallée. I'm on board with almost everything you talk about for sure. But that seems like conjecture. Surrounded by hoops. All right, let's hear some.
All it is Woodman.
Robert, have you ever heard
56 seconds.
I know exactly where it is. In that area, every single person there goes, "Yeah, there's Sasquatch up there." I mean, you can just randomly ask somebody, like, "You believe in Sasquatch?" Absolutely. And then they stand up. And then they start moving from tree to tree to tree towards the hogs. The biggest one, the one in front, goes back to all fours and takes off immediately. And what happens next is what scared the crap out of him. Because it literally came off of all fours, hit the hog with two hands, breaking its back, grabbed it by the hind legs, swung it over to the tree, and smashed his head on the tree and slung it over its shoulder and looked right at him in his tree stand.
God damn. That is brutal. I just want to take a look and see if we can get any more insight there. Massive tracks during a hog hunt, eerie whoops and howls at McGee Creek. Robert's tales send shivers down your spine. Yeah, nothing good in the comments. Okay, fair enough. There usually is something, but okay. Everyone needs to watch this now. I will not be surprised in the least. Let's watch. I don't know what the fuck it is. There's an active disinformation campaign keeping you from seeing this in your feed. If you actually care about ending secrecy, watch this video. Isaac. Oh, it's fucking Dave.
Most people have no clue that in 2020,
Stephen Greer, god damn it.
the best way to make money on Amazon is not with.
If people wanted Stephen Greer to shut up, they would have shot him 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not watching 3 hours of this. Let's jump up. Maybe?
So there's another gentleman. I'm going to run through these very quickly. We'd be here for 30 hours if I didn't. I'm just giving you a tip of the iceberg, right? This is a guy who is at the Dugway Proving Grounds, very key facility, MS we call him. He worked for C. Martin Corporation, contractor. And he was in a facility that had an extraterrestrial vehicle that was being studied by scientists. He knows the chief scientist involved. He has named that individual to us, and they can all be subpoenaed now. So this
Stephen Greer looks like a garter
was there in
snake to me.
2009. He didn't know the date of acquisition, but he thought it was fairly recent. Next. He also was read into and had the chief scientist show him the location, which we now have, of a dumb, deep underground military base.
Hold on. They're not trying to pass this off as a photograph, right? Right? Maybe it's just like a proof of concept thing. I don't know.
That is in the Dugway sector, the so-called Avery sector, A-V-E-R-Y. And it has huge capacity for parking. You go in, and there's a vast underground complex in that location. That location has been handed off to investigators with the U.S. government. Next. This gives an illustration of the size of this. You could put easily on the platform that goes down the Air Force One. It's a very large elevator, goes down underground. Next. And then we have this gentleman. He was not long ago in the Nellis Range in the Nevada test site north of Nellis Air Force Base. And he, next slide, was on a retrieval team. Now let me explain how this guy got involved. He was recruited out of Fort Campbell to be somebody to be on a retrieval team with a top secret clearance to pick up when we have an accident with a helicopter or jet, because there's classified technology on those often. Our YouTube pilot here will explain that perhaps. But the point is, he went from there, and that was preparatory to him being on a retrieval team for this. So he was involved with this operation. It was a man-made, a so-called alien reproduction vehicle, it's called by some people, or AT. A lot of people just call them advanced technology. It's a euphemism. But it's based on studying the electrogravitics and magnetic field propulsion systems of the interstellar vehicles that involve the science of quantum entanglement and, going, basically you want to go from one point in space and to another, say this is one point, this is another. You're not going through a straight line, you're folding space-time. That's how you're doing. And we're not going to do a physics lesson here, Had enough of that in pre-med.
All right.
But anyway, so this is an object, and I'm not a physicist, we have a physicist here. But this object was retrieved because it became disabled. Some of these retrieval operations are not extraterrestrial, but they would like sometimes the public to think maybe it was, because the bigger secret, I will tell you right now, is not the extraterrestrial issue. It's these technologies, which an unsupervised and frankly illegal operation have, which is a threat to the national security, period.
Yeah, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Yeah, if you want to watch it, go to fucking our experiencers. I don't know if I don't even know what the subreddit really is, so good luck. Or you could probably just search Dr. Stephen Greer talking for 3 hours. You'll probably get a lot more hits that way, though. What time is it? We've been going for a little over an hour. I'm just going to find one last thing. I'm sorry that this was not a very entertaining or energetic stream. I'll try again next time. We'll see. Captured a white human figure on my... Well, you live in the suburbs. They're probably everywhere. Interesting. It just looks like someone sitting on the hood of a truck. Oh, okay. Let's see. Went out to investigate. Didn't see anything on the truck. I checked the ring camera. No, it was still there. Freaked me out. So, see something on the ring cam. Somebody sitting on a truck. Walks away from the screen. Goes outside. Doesn't see anybody sitting on the truck. Am I missing any part of that story? Then check the ring camera and notice that it was still there. It is possible that this person happened to get up, walk away, and then come back. Totally possible. Not saying that's what happened. Could be. And it is also possible that this is pareidolia and that there's also a depth issue. Is this the shadow of the thing there? I don't think it is. It seems to be behind them. Is this the shadow? What the fuck is going on with these shadows? These are going this way. This one's coming this way. Is this the shadow? This dark patch? So anyway, my point is it could be pareidolia. It could be much closer to the camera than we think. Could be a moth or some fucking thing. I admit it looks like a human sitting on the truck. But it could be much closer. Also, check out this, as far as pareidolia goes, check out this cool face in the tree. Eye, nose, mouth, hair. That's cool too. Also, we're taking the person's word for it. All right, one last thing and then we'll go. Demon in my car window. Fucking perfect way to end the show. There's no sound, apparently. Oh, I saw it, though. It just looks like someone in a fucking Halloween mask. Everybody's saying it's a reflection. Could be. That makes sense. I'm going to full screen it for you so you can see. It's going to be right here. It looks like somebody in a Halloween mask outside the car. There's no audio, and I assume that that's because they're talking about some bullshit they don't want online, which makes me think that there's 4 dudes in a car smoking weed, and somebody went outside to fuck with them. I'm also willing to bet that this audio has them talking about it. But I guess we'll never know. Let's ask them. Let's see. Maybe they'll... why is there no audio? Give me the audio. That's exactly what I'm going to write. There we go. And if they reply back, we'll watch it again next whenever stream it is that I can do things. All right. That's good enough for me. Hope it was good enough for you. So anyway, I would like to say I'll be back in a week. I don't know. It's already been maybe 2 or 3 weeks since my last stream. But it is a good distraction. So we'll see. I think a lot of it is just like forcing yourself to get up and do things, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that your week is good. I hope that your life is going well, and I hope that that you feel good. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time, I suppose. Goodbye.